The Premier League starts in 5 days, and just when you're thinking everything's sorted, we know what we've got now. Maybe missing a right back, but that's the squad. We've established it. And then boom, Savinho is on his way to Spurs, apparently, which is one of the most baffling deals of the transfer window. I'm astounded by it. It started last night. More concrete, at least. There were little murmurings earlier than last night, in all honesty, going back a few days ago, saying that City were offering him, which I'm not sure about that, in all honesty, because now there's contradicting reports saying City don't want to sell him. So why would we offer him if we don't want to sell him? So there's lots of mixed information out there, and there's no one journalist that actually wants to own it. No one seems to want to own this as an exclusive. It's lots of shared exclusives. And he said this, and I'm friends with him, and he also said this, and he's also my mate. You know, lots of information out there, and lots of it is seemingly odd. Starting with David Ornstein this morning, saying that Tottenham are in talks with Man City to sign Savinho. City not actively wanting to sell, but €50 million deal being discussed. 21-year-old open to Spurs. Pep Guardiola tends not to block when players want out, and you can see he's tagged a few people in there, one of them being Fabrizio Romano as well. Fabrizio Romano then followed that 2 hours later, saying more on Savinho and Tottenham exclusive story. First proposal has already been sent by Spurs, worth €50 million. I think he's just echoing David Ornstein there. And Man City want more. Negotiations ongoing with City, open to selling, as Savio's keen on the move, but only at their conditions. Deal absolutely on. Last night, Fabrizio said something very different.
Also, to give you my feeling, I think this deal for something around the 70 millions could be a possibility. So, Savinho, Spurs, the deal is on.
So I'm with that, really, to be honest. 70 million, I think that's a deal that's reasonable and reasonably fair. I think you're dealing with Daniel Levy as well, don't forget, which is interesting because we've been rumoured to be in there with Jed Spence. I've been saying City could potentially swoop in for Jed Spence, or even Archie Gray, who's got that versatility, who can play at right back. We need a fullback. Jed Spence is a fullback who can play right back. Before last season and a few pre-season games this season where he's predominantly played as a left back for Spurs, I actually think he could play right back for Manchester City, and he's done that many times in his career prior to that, and he would tick the box for homegrown quota, of which we've lost one of them today. In fact, here we go, has been given for Jack Grealish. Good luck to him. But right now we're looking at incomings. I want to wish Jack Grealish all the best, actually, because I think he delivered a lot, in particular in that treble-winning season. Jackie boy, thank you very much, mate. But these are the times now. We move on, we move forward. Good luck to him at Everton. But Savinho, I mean, here's an example of what I thought of him in my most recent watch-along. And Tijani Reinders. Oh, Savinho! Oh, he's put it wide. That's the one I'm talking about, man. You got to be burying them. That's his future. That's his career. In a nutshell, brilliant run. Yeah, he's onside. This right back down here's played him onside. Great touch. Great intelligence. Just got to finish it. Just put it in the corner. And he's put it wide. I think that summed him up, in all honesty. I think that sums him up. That we see that every game with Savinho, almost every game. There is a glaring opportunity that he misses. And it's so frustrating because there is an abundance of talent. So much potential there for Savinho. What a player, man. Like this, there's always a spark there that you're like, yeah, man, just unleash him. Just let him off his leash himself. I think he's his own worst enemy at times. He doesn't have that composure in front of goal. But I do think there's a misconception about him that he's a bit part player, or he was last season for Manchester City. No, he got an incredible amount of minutes. The top 11, in fact, which suggests he's in the starting 11 for Manchester City. Certainly was last season because he's 11th for the most number of minutes in the Manchester City squad. Then you look at his actual output in terms of assists, raw assists, that is. He was joint top with Matheus Nunes, which I think is a real indication of how the season went when Matheus Nunes and Savinho are our two biggest creators in all competitions last season. I think that's a lot of where things went wrong for Manchester City last season. But still, he's one of them. Fair play to Savinho. 10 assists isn't bad at all in your first season. But there's another side to him, unfortunately. And then you look at the goals department where he plummets beneath John Stones and Jack Grealish, who's just been sold to Everton. He's got less goals than them. That's raw data, of course. Let's talk about goal involvements in total, actual GNA. That's what we want from that type of player, in particular a wide player. Can you provide assists? Can you provide goals as well? Because it's what we got from Sterling. It's what we got from Sane. When we had wingers that played in those particular positions, In those seasons, those two in particular were vital. They were vital goal contributors, both sides of the pitch. Jeremy Doku, the same is going to be levelled towards him, but last season he outperformed. He outperformed Savinho, and he got nearly 1,000 minutes less than him, which is a huge amount of football. Nearly a third of the season, roughly. Doku got less than Savinho, and he outperformed him. So a lot of these people saying Savinho over Doku, I mean, for me, Doku's further down the line, further down the path in his development, and as he should be. He's been here for longer than Savinho, so he should be further down the line. But he is. They're the facts. We have to deal with it. Then you look at his goals and assists in total, which isn't bad at all. Like I said, he's still behind Doku with 12, and Doku's on 15. In fact, Doku was on the same as Phil Foden last season, so I think Jeremy Doku is absolutely ahead of him in terms of his development. But then you compare that to per 90, what they actually delivered every game. And again, Savinho, goals and assists, because of the lack of goals to his game, he plummets. He plummets down the list behind. You can ignore James McAtee and Divin Mubama on that list, by the way, and even Oscar Bob, of course. Anyone with less than 1,000 minutes isn't really worth comparing, in all honesty, because it skews their data quite a bit. But anyone who's got more than 1,000 minutes has played a reasonable amount of football, and it's worth considering the data. And in this case, Savinho's got 2,776 minutes, yet he still finds himself way down the pecking order in terms of goals and assists per 90 minutes. So he needs to, if he stays at Manchester City, this isn't a change in the narrative, by the way. Let's make it all okay because he's being sold, or he's potentially being sold. These are the facts right now. He has underperformed in his first season. We always forgive. We don't forget, but we always forgive players in their first season at Manchester City. It takes time to get used to things. This is the season where you want to see Savinho go up a level. I think Doku has gone up a level. Not to the level I would like him to. I think he's got a bigger ceiling. I think Doku's unplayable. I don't think you can stop Jeremy Doku. When he does his thing on the wing, I think Savinho's got an incredible ability to beat the fullback. Not like Doku. I don't think anyone's like Doku in the world at beating his fullback. He's unstoppable. It's just being composed in that final moment where you unleash a cross or whip a shot towards goal. You got to get it on target. You got to hit the target. And Savinho is worse than that compared to Jeremy Doku as far as I'm concerned. But I find the deal baffling. I think 70 million is the start of something. If that's the case, I think Manchester City should be absolutely ignoring any sort of deal for 50 million euros. So what, 40 plus million for Savinho? We did our homework on this guy, man. We found this guy. We put him into Girona and we let him grow, where he had a sensational season, a brilliant season at Girona. One of the best crossing wingers in Europe that particular season, where he got Girona way up in the La Liga, and people were questioning, can they win the bloody league? You know, they were an unstoppable Girona that particular season. Now joined Manchester City. He did not hit those heights. He didn't play that well. But you know he's capable because we saw him do it in La Liga. So I think there's a real possibility and a real fear factor for Manchester City fans. And I'm bored of hearing Cole Palmer connections, by the way. Like, oh, and another Cole Palmer situation. Get over Cole Palmer, man, for fuck's sake. Get over Cole Palmer. He's gone, man. It's been 2 bloody years. Get over it. Get over it. It's boring. Do you know what I mean? I can see the connection why you're worried about it, though, because you don't want to see another player that's got bags of potential who could potentially go away for less than 50 million, if rumours are to be believed on the fee, and go and succeed and flourish another squad and become a worldie of a player. I'm not convinced at Savinho yet. I think I would like to see him flourish more at Manchester City. The question for me is the fact that he's getting those minutes at Manchester City last season without Oscar Bob. Will he get them this season? Is Oscar Bob preferred to him? Because I see a more complete finisher in particular, a better eye for goal at least in Oscar Bob. I think in terms of dribbling ability, I think Savinho edges it. Crossing ability, it's a bit 50-50 because you've got the Girona season to factor in where he was sensational, but last season his crossing was quite wayward with Manchester City, whereas Oscar Bob's sort of somewhere in between those 2 seasons for me. But I think overall, Oscar Bob has probably got a more complete package compared to Savinho, but only just. We're talking about minor details, but I think Pep, at the minute, seems to edge towards Oscar Bob. And who knows what last season would have brought if Oscar Bob hadn't broken his leg. But this season, Oscar Bob is fit. So maybe that's why there's a possibility to this deal. But the other factor is, where's he going to go at Spurs? Do you know what I mean? Like, look at this. Have a look at Spurs' team here. Like, I don't see where he fits in. in all honesty, and guarantees that he's going to get more minutes than he got at Manchester City, in particular compared to last season. Because I think this is what I'm assuming would be their strongest 11. Udogi's up for debate, because I think Jed Spence is making a name for himself. But pick or choose a few of those 11 out of there. I mean, Bentancur might not play. You might see Basuma in there. Paulini's just joined, of course. But that's roughly their strongest 11. Without Maddison, let's say without him, because he's out for pretty much the majority of the season now. I mean, they've just signed Kudos. So I'd be putting him right wing straight away. Kulusevski, who's injured, but could be coming back earlier rather than later, at the beginning of the season. So I think he'll take that midfield spot. And you could swap them, to be honest. Either or, really. And I think both of those two players are ahead of Savinho. Straight away. Immediately. Those two players immediately play ahead of Savinho. So that only really leaves the left wing position. Unless you plan to use Savinho potentially as a central player. Again, I would have Kudos and Kulusevski. But I think you're looking at Brennan Johnson. I think he's got more of an eye for goal. We saw him win the Europa League for them, where he was a bit of a scrappy goal. But, he's got an eye for goal. Last season, G&A, he was really good. Outperforming Savinho. So I'd be questioning 70 million or even 50 from Spurs for a player that's going to be a bench warmer behind these three. I would play these three, and that's not me being a biased City fan, because it's the polar opposite. Because obviously I want my players to be good players. But if any of these three played for Manchester City, I would pick, probably not Brennan Johnson, but Kudos and Kulusevski. I would play both of them ahead of Savinho. I really would. And if you've not seen Kudos and you've not seen Kulusevski, then you need to give them a watch, because those two, on their day, are way ahead of Savinho right now. And they're older, of course. Maybe one for the future for Spurs to get excited about. But I'm confused by this deal. I find it baffling. In particular, from both sides. Why City is selling, because I think we need someone like Savinho. That also means we've therefore got to go into the market. Who? Which could be an exciting situation, because who do we bring in? If we're bringing in money, is it going to be a right back? Are we saying we're okay in the wide departments? We're going to see Ryan Cherky play out there more often, which I don't want to see. Phil Foden can do that role. Oscar Bob. You've got Doku, who can play both sides of the pitch. Bernardo Silva's been known to drift out there quite often, in all honesty. Not to the happiness of Manchester City fans, but still. We've got players that can play in that particular role. So losing Savinho wouldn't be the end of the world for Manchester City, but at what price? If we're selling him for 50, no way. 70, yes. And then who do we get in? And what position do we use that money to spend it on? For me, I think we should be looking at a right back and really bolstering down that particular position where it is our weakest area of the pitch. Right back. We need to sort that out. We absolutely do. Blues. This is a strange situation we've found ourselves in, but the transfer window is not done. There is a long way to go, and I think this is the beginning, one of the big pieces in a puzzle that we haven't seen the rest of the pieces yet. There's more pieces to come. I'm convinced of that. Absolutely. What do you think? Blues, get in the comments below. Make sure to like and subscribe. Take care, everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.